looked and it only said Kinsey. I was like, what?
Oh, you're totally
Okay.
good.
So the first question is assess this venture from Jim Sharpe's perspective. So
This is terrible. What is this venture again? I forgot.
it's the oh my goodness.
I just read
Why
the
can't
next
he
case
just
today.
acquired a company, the aluminum
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
extrusion
His
company.
production company. Okay.
Actually.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah, yeah.
how I
story.
it was basically like based on what he was looking for in the company he wanted to acquire, and it seemed to fit pretty much all of his requirements. So to him, in his perspective, it was a great opportunity because he wanted a company that was not perfect, that he could fix because he's done it in the past, and he wanted it to be in manufacturing. And it was in the area he wanted. And he would be able to own the whole company and not just a portion of it, because it talked about in the case how he had different offers where he could be a portion owner. So this way he was the whole owner. So in his perspective, I think he thought it was a great opportunity.
Yeah, and like from a finance stance, I feel like if he had gotten a business that was more put together, he'd never be able to afford it. So like I feel like this was created the perfect opportunity for growth, and plus he'd be able to exercise all the skills that he had already like acquired, that he had been on such a long search to be able to finally like perform. So I feel like it opened good doors because it'll give him the opportunity to really, I guess, put to practice everything he's learned.
Mm-hmm.
I think also it's a really risky when you're using that much debt to finance it. That's always a huge risk. But I feel like because for him it's a lot less of a risk because he actually has the expertise in production and manufacturing companies to like fix them up, make them better. He probably saw this as a chance for him to make a huge profit because it's less risky with his skill set than it would be for another potential buyer who wasn't as good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I knew I was concerned partly just because he hasn't ever had experience in the industry, but he has had experience in a variety of different manufacturing ones. So he has the experience that could be helpful to him. But if this type of manufacturing is super different, then maybe he won't be as successful at it.
I agree with that.
So the second question is, how has Jim Sharpe purchased this venture? What are the implications of this financial structure?
So he purchased it with debt, mostly with various kinds of loans and lines of credit. That's a really risky deal because you have to make certain payments. If you're not being really profitable, it's hard to meet those payments. And if things do go wrong for you, then the lenders have priority rights to all the liquidation of the company. So they're responsible of everything at that point. So he can't make his payments and everything, lose everything. But the benefit of it though is if he does make the payments and pay off the loan and everything, then he gets to have all of the profits. So he's able to have that if he had equity funding.
Does someone have two browsers open? Because it's echoing. Maybe it's just me hearing it though.
Yeah, I hear it.
I think I have two browsers open. I'm on my phone, so I don't think I would.
It sounds better now.
Okay, just wanted to check. All right. Oh, and then ask how you purchased it. If I remember correctly, he financed, or he got a line of credit for almost $600,000, right?
Because he did like 100,000 himself, I thought, but a lot of it was him putting like different house in his car and stuff. I thought was really. I thought he should look into doing more venture capitalist type stuff because then he could grow his business, grow the business better, and risk of the equity. He wouldn't own the company like he wanted to, which is the downside. The third question is, what should Jim Sharpe do on the first day as owner of Fusion Technology Inc.?
I was thinking that something he should do is maybe, I mean, there were a lot of good options, you know. I think one of them was cutting his costs and finding ways to make the, you know, basically make the factory run more efficiently. He was talking about how the previous owner was buying more raw materials than they could produce, and they had an overstock of inventory of materials that would never be used. So I was kind of thinking, you know, we kind of learned in like past business classes too that the way to really save money is to cut costs, not to expect an increase in sales or profits or volume. So for me, I kind of think that maybe coming in, cutting costs, and making the factory run more efficiently should be his first priority.
Yeah, I focus on that as well because I don't remember, I don't know which class you're referring to, but one of my classes I took maybe like a simulation, and it focused on that same thing. Like, you can't just expect something else to go up with your business. Like, you have to be the one to stop and to cut. And so the fact that he mentioned that they had so much excess, like, I feel like that's a huge deal, and they could save a lot of money from the beginning if they would implement a better system for who's ever ordering or producing or whatever.
Hey, Joseph, is your phone on speakerphone?
Yeah, it is. Is that what's echoing, do you think?
I think so, because you're the only one who's not echoey.
Really? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't. All right. So here's my quick dilemma, really quick. You guys can do like a popular vote. So my computer, the laptop I brought, for some reason, the speakers, like when I talk, my microphone doesn't work on Google Hangouts. So I could do my laptop, but then I won't be able to speak. If you guys wanted, I could just do the chat.
Oh, I think it's fine. We only have two more questions.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry. I promise I'll buy some headphones before our next meeting.
Oh, no, you're totally good.
All right.
I was talking about what was causing it. We're good.
Yep, you found it.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like, cutting costs is a huge deal for that company because they're trying to get it to grow a ton. You looked at the numbers we calculated for that assignment. The growth rates are really like, sporadic. They're not very predictable. And so to get profits, is the best way, at least in the beginning, is to cut costs. I feel like that machine like is costing so much money to work on and fix all the time, plus all the downtime that it causes when it does break. I think if you could upgrade that machine, you'd save a ton of money on costs right there instantly.
Yeah, I think like focusing on margins too, because that deals with cutting costs, but increasing your margins, finding ways to do that, like we're talking about, because the guy was saying in the case, I think the previous owner, that they can get volume customers, like volume orders, but then they don't get a good revenue from it, because if their margins aren't good, then they're not going to get enough. They're not going to get a lot back from a large order. But if they had better margins for these volume orders, because they were more efficient, they could get a lot more revenue and profit from it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with that too, actually.
So the fourth question is, what should his action plan be for the next 6 months, next 12 months, and what should his priorities be? I think we kind of already talked about it, because it's kind of similar to the first day, but we can still talk about as far as long-term priorities too.
Go ahead. One thing that I said was, I feel like also to help their company be more productive. I don't know if you guys ever read the book called Good to Great, But in there, it talked about implementing, like taking a business that's not doing so well and how to increase, not only financially, but, well, okay, yeah, mostly financially. But it talked about like putting everybody in the right place so that the business can be successful. So yeah, they might have a lot of great employees, but I think that he should take time. Like, I think they should skill all their employees and figure out what their actual strengths are and do a shift. Now I don't know at what point in the timeline. I said after about 6 months to a year, they should try to figure out how they can best work with who they have that already is familiar with the company and get them to where they can be the most successful. Because I feel like a lot of success in the company isn't just all based on numbers, but it's based on people who are doing things that create numbers.
Yeah, kind of going along with that, they had the problem. They talk about they had the union problems can potentially arise. But his like definitely his goal in the long term is to get the company to grow, not just be efficient. But you can't, no matter how talented he is at managing all the things he does, he can't get the company to really grow without the employees' help. And so I was thinking like he needs to get the employees like their trust that you're saying, figure out what their talents are and really utilize their talents. And so if he can do things that are going to increase their motivation and get them on his side, then he can help avoid the union problems in the future, as well as get increased productivity and support from his employees.
And if he does work with employees, he can find out the issues with efficiency in the beginning. So as he builds their trust, then he can have more of their in-depth knowledge, because he doesn't really know about the industry at all. Like, he's been in manufacturing, but he doesn't really know what goes into it. And so with their help, he can figure out where those bottlenecks are that he needs to fix. And then in the long run, focus on growing the business after becoming more efficient, because you can't really effectively grow until you learn to be more efficient and manage your costs.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Joseph? Since you're muted. Is he still there?
Yeah, sorry.
Go for it.
I think long term too, I kind of agree with you guys in the sense of, the employee, being a good owner to the employees. I wasn't able to completely finish all of the case study, but it sounded like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like the previous owner didn't he not even step foot in the shop, or he didn't see his employees? Am I thinking of a different study, or?
No, he was in the shop because he ran the machine himself a lot.
Oh, he did.
But I think one of the things he didn't do is he didn't focus on the employees' benefits or anything. He kind of just played it by ear as he went. So he wasn't really involved as much with the employees and how they were working with them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he became at one point he became less focused in that business because I thought he wanted to work on a different aspect, something. And so that's why they talked about how the management wasn't as focused in the company.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that had to deal some with that.
I don't even think he was really that tight with the employees, though, because it said at the end that he walked in and was like, "All right, here's your new owner, bye," and walked out. And the employees were like, "Wait, what?" So, I mean, not that selling a company is your employees need to be involved in every step, but to only get in on the last step, I feel is not very professional.
Yeah.
I thought he was also kind of tired of the business towards the end anyway, because he said him and his dad were just taking all the money out all the time. He had his dad on payroll still, which is kind of weird to me. I'm assuming his dad founded it. But just to have him on payroll and you're just pulling that money out, and you're obviously not too worried about the company because the building wasn't looking too great, the machine breaks a lot, and they're still pulling out all this money to live on all the time, so they're not really too worried about the company itself.
So the last question is, did Jim make the right acquisition, and explain?
Well, I have another quick question. Once again, I'm trying to think if this case study. Were the workers at his new factory, were they unionized? Were they a part of a union?
Yeah, they were the Teamster union.
So that's something else I would think of as a long-term goal. Jim had a lot of experience when he was at GE. He said that if the workers at the coal mines or anything got unionized, that the managers would be fired. So maybe Jim, a long-term goal that I was kind of thinking of is maybe he could also try to work out a negotiation with his own employees. That way they can kind of get away from union fees, union rules, regulations, things like that. I think that might be a solid long-term goal, is to maybe try to negotiate with your employees and try to maybe separate them from the union.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a really good point. Because I was doing the math on that. Like, they were making, however many millions, in revenue. Like, it's like $3 million in revenue. But those union strikes could last for up to 6 weeks. If you take a whole month out of the year due to a strike, you lost a couple $100,000 easy right there for the year. And so I think just fixing that union problem would be really profitable for them in itself. I think also like that's kind of I agree it should be a long-term goal on that point for that kind of thing, because right now he's gonna make sure he can make those payments to his lenders and make sure it's profitable enough to pay for everything he's got paid for. And I think those kind of things, like, with employee issues and things he can work on, take a lot longer to do. And so the beginning, you just cut costs in the beginning to get the profits increasing, and then shift his focus in the next like 12 months or something like that to the employees. I think that's a really good strategy for him.
Yeah, because doing something like that would take a lot of building of relationships and building of trust, especially with your employees. Because the reason I feel like they do unions is to protect themselves in their employment. But if he were to start establishing a more union type management style, like he talked about how they would run it in the past, I think as the people would see how he's trying to protect them and build the trust and loyalty in them, then it would, over the long term, he would be able to accomplish that. But it's not going to happen in 6 months. It'll take a while for them to really fully trust him, especially with him just coming in and not having really any notice about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Are we ready for the last question?
So,
did Jim make the right acquisition? Explain.
Oh, I think he definitely got a fixer-upper, but it's in the field that he wanted. It's kind of it meets the criteria that he wanted, in my opinion. And I feel like he's got the skills to make it work out really well. So, in my opinion, it's a really, really good acquisition in the long run.
I felt the same. I feel like it was good for him. It may not fit for other people who are looking for something that's not like struggling, but he wanted something that wasn't struggling because partly he knew he couldn't afford a perfect business set the way it was, like one that wasn't struggling really a lot. So he knew he couldn't afford that, but he also knew he could help turn around a manufacturing one because he's done it before. And so I think this fits in line really well with what he's capable of doing, whereas with other people, it may not fit what they're wanting.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a perfect fit for Jim, just because of obviously, like you were saying, Michaela, his background. It seems like ever since he graduated from Harvard Business School, he's been tasked with multiple challenges that really left him, I guess you can say, just kind of learning about the business and learning the ins and outs. And I think it's interesting that a while ago, I don't remember if it was one of his chairmen or it was a mentor, I believe, they were considering buying a business, but they both agreed they need a little bit more time to polish up their skills and to learn a little bit more. And I think this is what he's been waiting for. And I think it's a perfect time. And I think it's a great acquisition just because this is something that he's had so much extensive experience with. I think it's almost like second nature. He has a lot of good real life lessons that he's learned throughout his tenure as, a project manager, a chairman, things like that as he's run these other businesses.
In some ways, I also think if he bought a perfect business that was running great, I think he wouldn't be quite as good at it because all of his past jobs had to do with actually fixing things up and like saving different areas and making it, cutting costs and improving it. That's where he's really skilled. He knows he can do it. I feel like it was actually a full blown just running it, just keeping it going efficiently. I mean, he could definitely do it, I think, but I think he wouldn't do as well as somebody else maybe could because his experience is in struggling manufacturing areas.
Well, I think one of the issues.
Oh, that could be an issue.
Hopefully she comes back. She's having computer issues, so.
That's all right.
Mid-sentence, too.
Did you get her text about losing Microsoft?
Yeah,
Pretty much everything. I was like, oh, it stinks.
that's very inconvenient.
Yep.
Real quick, have either of you guys ever taken Launching New Ventures before, that class?
383?
Yeah.
That's what I'm in.
I took it 2 semesters ago.
How'd you guys like it? Is it pretty like fun or difficult or whatever?
I think the only thing that was different is, constantly making changes to your venture. Are they having you do what's that layout? It's like a 9
BMC.
Yeah, business model canvas. Oh, go ahead, Kinsey. What were you saying?
Sorry.
We're done anyways, so you get.
Okay.